Today is Saturday, February 12th. Valentine's Day is just around the corner. So today we're talking all about love, relationships, and dating trends for 2022, from what the data shows to what our dating expert thinks. Joining us once again with all this love info is celebrity dating coach Damona Hoffman. She's been helping singles find love for more than 15 years, hosts the Dates and Mates podcast, is a regular contributor for the Drew Barrymore Show, LA Times, and more, and is OkCupid's official dating expert. Damona shares what people are looking for in this new year, explains daters' biggest deal breaker, and even has some tips for both singles and couples this Valentine's Day. Welcome to the Newsworthy Special Edition Saturday, when we sit down with a different expert or celebrity every Saturday to talk about something in the news. Don't forget to tune in every Monday through Friday for our regular episodes, where we provide all the day's news in 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. It's now time for today's Special Edition Saturday. Damona, thank you so much for coming back on the Newsworthy.
Thanks for having me.
So how do you think 2 years now of the pandemic has most influenced how people are approaching dating in 2022?
After all the experiences that we've been through over the last 2 years, I'm seeing that there's a big shift towards people wanting relationships. Hookup culture is dead. It's totally dead. People are over it, and people are really craving connection. So we are seeing a big spike in new users on the apps and people that are coming in with the relationship focus, not just looking to hang out and hook up.
And I know we've talked about in the past that during the pandemic, more and more dating apps started incorporating video because you might not always be getting together. Has that continued? And do you see that trend going strong in 2022?
Oh, yeah. Our friend Omicron made certain that video would be here to stay. We are definitely seeing that being the primary way that people are still connecting first before in-person dates. We are also seeing that people are using audio. They're using voice memos to get a little bit more context across so somebody can hear their voice, can hear their inflection. And we're also seeing that people are using different technology tools to connect. So dating apps are not the only online dating resource now. People are also sliding into DMs. I'm hearing a lot of celebrity stories and a lot of stories from real people that we are just craving connection, and we're using all the technology available to do that.
And is it just because of the pandemic, or do people like the idea of not wasting your time in person by getting to know you through technology first?
In the 15 plus years I've been coaching daters, I've always said you need to have a screening step before you just go to the date. And prior to the pandemic, everybody was just on dating burnout. We were just swiping, going right to the date, and then wondering why we didn't have any connection with that person or getting ghosted. That was a huge issue for my clients 2 years ago. And now that's not happening because people have realized the value of connecting before the in-person date, getting to know one another, seeing if the vibe is right before they make that additional investment of time. And also, right now in the pandemic, still risk. I'm telling my clients, go ahead and test before the dates to make sure that you can just show up, be yourself, not be worried about safety, and know that you both can just let go, have a good time, and focus on connecting with one another. One unexpected sort of silver lining to the pandemic for dating is that it's taken down a lot of barriers. And now people are saying, well, what if I could live in another city? At OkCupid, we even opened up the ability for people to search beyond their local area for all users. And we saw a huge jump in people sort of having the fantasy of what would happen if I met someone in another location. And we are seeing also that people are dating long distance, and some of them are even deciding to move for love or just explore. That's really like the big headline that we're seeing at OkCupid, that 2022 is the year of exploration in dating.
I know that you've also mentioned there's been a dramatic shift in how users are defining their sexuality on dating apps. What's the data show when it comes to that?
Well, in alignment with the overall trend that we've seen in the last few years in society, we're seeing on dating apps that people are more open to exploring their sexuality. There has been a 10% increase in OkCupid users identifying as pansexual. There's also been a 250% increase in users identifying as bisexual compared to last year, and also a major increase in users identifying as non-binary. We have been going through this period of evaluation and figuring out who are we and what do we want out of life and who do we want to spend our time with. And that has caused a lot of users to open up their search criteria and potentially date someone that they may have not considered before.
Okay, but when we're evaluating values, what role do politics play in that?
We predict at OkCupid they are going to be the biggest deal breaker this year. So in 2021, there was a 10% increase in political terms on user profiles. And, that wasn't even an election year. So with the midterms heating up, we believe that people will be seeking someone who is politically aligned. This has been increasing over the years. Again, dating apps are just a reflection of what's happening in society at large. On OkCupid, you can filter out people with a particular political belief if you don't want to see them. Just like in society at large, people are choosing to only engage with those that they feel aligned with and their values. People see it as a shortcut, and they're taking that opportunity right now.
What's your take on that? Should we be filtering out people based on political terms?
It depends on the role that politics hold in your life. If something is really important to you, and let's say you're very politically active, you watch certain political news shows every night, then that is something that probably should be a deal breaker. But I see a lot of people being willing to throw in the towel or not even engage at all with someone across the political divide. We're seeing a huge shift in this among couples who used to be able to have different political beliefs, but now we're just seeing that as a complete non-starter.
Still ahead, what the data shows about recently divorced singles on dating apps and the recent surge of sober dating. Plus, think beyond dinner and a movie, Damona is sharing some fun date ideas to reignite the spark on Valentine's Day. But first, let's take a quick break to thank our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by KiwiCo. A new year is always a great time to discover new things about ourselves and our interests. And it's just as important for the kids in our lives to make these same discoveries. With a KiwiCo subscription, your child can discover something new all year long. Kids can discover the engineering and mechanics behind everyday objects, the science and chemistry of cooking, geography and culture from new cultures, and brand new art and design techniques, all through seriously fun, hands-on projects. In addition to getting KiwiCo crates for my son at our house, I bought my 5-year-old niece in a different state a KiwiCo subscription that she is already loving. KiwiCo has something for kids of all ages, and there's no commitment, so you can pause or cancel anytime. Redefine learning with play. Explore hands-on projects that build confidence, creativity, and critical thinking skills all year long. And right now, you can get 50% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line with code newsworthy at kiwico.com. That's 50% off your first month at KIWICO, kiwico.com with the promo code newsworthy. This episode is also brought to you by BetterHelp. Sometimes we need a little assistance figuring out what could be holding us back in life. Well, BetterHelp is a great way to connect with a professional counselor in a secure and private online environment to figure it out and, most importantly, live our best life. And because BetterHelp is all online, you can get a little help on your own time and at your own pace. Everything you share is confidential, and you choose whether you talk with your counselor through text, phone, video, or all of the above. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with a counselor they think is a great fit. If you're not happy with your counselor for any reason, request a new one. No big deal and no extra charge. It's a convenient and affordable option available for clients worldwide. I want you to start living a happier life today. And as a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/newsworthy. Join more than 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Go to BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, betterhelp.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to my conversation with dating expert Damona Hoffman. What does the data show about married couples and divorces?
So I predicted at the beginning of the pandemic that there would be a divorce boom. And Erica, I will always admit when I have been wrong. There was not a divorce boom right away in the pandemic. I found that people were sticking together just because of, I think, all of the pressures of what we were going through and finances. And a lot of people found it just hard to get out of their relationships. But now, as we're turning the corner on the pandemic, we are seeing a major increase in couples filing for divorce. And at OkCupid, we've been seeing an increase in profiles mentioning being recently divorced, 300% increase since 2017. So as we go through this big evaluation of our lives, and as many people have spent the last 2 years completely locked down with their partner, they've seen different sides of them and different sides of themselves that they find may not be compatible anymore. And for many divorcees, especially in the midst of the pandemic, dating apps are the first place that they turn to be able to open up their dating pool. For many of them, dating apps didn't even exist when they got married. So this is a whole new venture for a lot of the newly divorced singles out there.
Whether someone is single or in a committed relationship, Valentine's Day is coming up. What's your advice or even just ideas for people as we approach the holiday?
Well, first of all, if you don't have a partner yet and you're feeling the pressure of Valentine's Day, don't worry. It's okay. You can do something else that really honors love in your life. It could be self-love, doing something for you. It could be a Galentine's Day and do something for your friends. But take a moment just to fill yourself up with love. I think that's really an important message of Valentine's Day. It's not just about romantic love. If you're in a relationship, I highly encourage you to also take this opportunity to do something together. I've been with my husband we're coming up on our 15th anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. But, I understand you get into the realities of life. We have 2 kids. There's a lot of pressures. We're both working. And there were a lot of years over those last 15 where we were like, Valentine's Day, should we, shouldn't we? And this year, I think we've got to. We've put so much of our lives on the back burner that this is really an important moment to recommit to your relationship. Let your partner know that you see them, you support them, you are still in love with them, and take this chance to maybe reignite the spark.
I love it. What about for singles and they maybe have a date? Any ideas in the times of COVID for what they should do or can do for a fun date?
There are so many ways to still have a fun date, even in the midst of COVID. You don't even have to go out. The important thing is to make sure that you're planning for the time. You have to do a little bit of preparation. So look, you could do your own sip and paint night at home. You don't necessarily have to go out for that. We do at-home scavenger hunts. We have an app that we use for that, or Zoom escape rooms. We've really gotten creative with the interactive at-home activities. Now, if you want to go out, you also don't have to spend a lot of money. I think people just automatically go to it's Valentine's Day, so we should just do dinner or dinner and a movie. And I think this is a good year for us to reevaluate and see, is that really what we want to be doing? Restaurants raise the prices. They're waiting for the suckers. They're waiting for the suckers that are coming out only on Valentine's Day. So if you can just get a little bit more creative and do something that's meaningful for you and your partner. If you haven't figured out what your love languages are, maybe you can do the love languages quiz and figure out if that person is into acts of service. Maybe do something that is service-based. If that person is into physical touch, maybe get a couples massage or give them a massage yourself. We can do a lot with a little, as long as we have the intention and the focus that it's about doing something for the two of you specifically, not just picking a Valentine's Day activity out of a catalog and saying, here, honey, I did something.
I love it. Anything else in the data that we haven't touched on that you want to mention?
So we're also seeing that sober dating is becoming more of a trend. There's been a 10% increase in terms like sobriety and sober dating and OkCupid profiles. But overall, also on the Dates and Mates podcast, I'm seeing that people want to be present for their dates. And drinking has been so intertwined with dating culture for so many years that this is a really interesting time for people to reevaluate how they enter into a date and start a new relationship with someone. And I think we're going to see that trend also continuing. And it's going to continue for couples as well as people figure out how they want to show up for themselves and for their partner.
Any final thoughts or words of wisdom about dating and relationships in 2022?
Stay curious. I know it's easy to get frustrated with dating. It's easy to feel the burnout. And then with the isolation that we've all been through, I know it can be very intense. But we have an opportunity right now to get curious about ourselves and to get curious when we're on a date and not just focus on is this person right for me? Are they checking all these boxes? But what can I learn from this experience? What am I curious to know from this other person? And how is this next chapter of my life going to unfold?
hear more from Damona Hoffman, check out her podcast, Dates and Mates. We have a link in our show notes. And that'll do it for us today. Be sure to join us every weekday for our regular episodes. We bring you all the day's news in our 10-minute news roundups every Monday through Friday. We'll be back on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend.